Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is a live Toffees Today episode. I don't think we've ever done one of these live, so this should be interesting. This is the show where we sit down and we talk about the latest Everton news and rumours. We're going to talk about the Premier League fixture list, which was released today at 9 a.m. We know who Everton will be facing on the opening day of the 2023-24 season. On the final day of the 2023-24 season, we know when the Merseyside derbies are. We know what our December fixture list looks like. We know all of it. So we're going to sit down and we're going to have a little bit of a discussion and go through some of those fixtures today. We're also going to talk about an important update in Everton's financial fair play charge saga. There has been an update earlier this afternoon from Paul Joyce, which is worth sitting down and going over, especially after some of the reports yesterday suggesting that Leicester City, Southampton, Burnley and Leeds United are attempting to sue Everton, or certainly Everton face legal issues with those clubs if they are found guilty of the FFP charge. And we're also going to talk about Bill Kenwright, who as of today still remains in his role as Everton chairman. The 48-hour deadline that was put on Bill Kenwright by the club has passed, set by the club has now passed, and we have had no further update on that situation. We're also going to talk a little bit about some rumours about players leaving the football club, potential players joining the football club, all of that sort of good stuff as well. But let's get straight into it. I apologise if you can hear a noise off camera. That is the fan working overtime about 5 yards away from me. It is about 48 million degrees in my bedroom, because whenever it is hot outside, my bedroom is like an absolute furnace. So if you can hear that, I do apologise. But without that, this live stream would probably be about 4 minutes long, and then I would have had to have just ended because I would be covered in sweat. So apologies about that one, but it is at this point a necessity. Anyway, let's get into the fixtures. They were released at 9 a.m. this morning. We all knew that they were getting released at 9 a.m. this morning. There was a few leaks yesterday regarding certain games, first game of the season, last game of the season leaks, but I always like to wait until the fixtures are actually released before discussing them or before having any form of opinion on them. And I've seen a lot of people talking about the fixtures today and saying that it doesn't really bother them and they don't really pay too much attention to the fixtures, because at the end of the day you have to play everybody twice, and whether you play Liverpool in December or you play them in February, whether you play Manchester City in October or you play them in April, you've still got to play them twice throughout the course of 9 or 10 months anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I understand that, but I also think it's good to see, who you've got on the first game of the season, who you've got on the last game of the season. I think for us Evertonians as well, there will have been a lot of us, at 9 o'clock this morning that would have completely ignored August, September, October, November and just gone straight to April and May, given what we've gone through over the last 2 seasons. But anyway, let's go through them. So it was confirmed today that Everton will face Fulham at Goodison Park on the opening day of the 2023-2024 season. That game will be played on the 12th of August. We'll obviously go through all of these games, bearing in mind that a lot of these will be subject to change because of television and various other different things that may go on, between August and May. But as of now, Everton, of course, will kick the season off on the 12th of August. I can't see that one changing. Certain other fixtures may change, Merseyside derby dates, etc., but I'm pretty sure that one will stay the same. And that is against Fulham at Goodison Park. Everton will end the season with an away fixture against Arsenal at the Emirates. That game is scheduled to be played on the 19th of May. Again, nothing surprising there. I think I spoke a week or so ago about the fixtures and the fixtures being released, and I still do think it's quite laughable that the Premier League, sort of still try and peddle this idea that they're all random and the fixture list is completely random and everybody's fixtures are decided to them, just coincidentally every year. It's nonsense. If that was the case, then Everton wouldn't, play Liverpool in September and March, or October and March of every single season. When was the last time we played Liverpool, in January and then February, or in August and then September? It's always, one game, and then, one game's always in September, October, and the other one's always in March, April. So, that brings big question marks. And also, if I was a betting man, which I am not, but if I was a betting man, I would have put a lot of money on Everton to have been pulled against one of the top 5, top 6 sides away from home on the final day of the season, purely on the basis that we had to win our final game of the season last season, and that was against Bournemouth at Goodison, and we were quite lucky that it was against Bournemouth at Goodison. And I don't want to get into the conspiracies of the Premier League want us relegated, etc., etc., but I was fairly confident, and I would have put, as I said, a lot of money on the, on the fact that Everton would have been playing one of the top sides away from home on the final day of the season. We get to 9 o'clock this morning, and it is announced that it is Arsenal away from home. For the second time in 3 years, by the way, we've had Arsenal on the final game of the season. Anyway, I digress. Final home game of the season is the week before that, the 11th of May, against Sheffield United. Again, that could potentially be subject to change, as are pretty much every one of these fixtures, barring the odd couple. As I said, first game of the season, last game of the season is pretty solid, but everything else in between is subject to change for television. The Merseyside derby dates are as followed. Everton will face Liverpool first at Anfield on the 21st of October. It's 2023. Everton will then face Liverpool at Goodison Park on the 16th of March 2024. So an Anfield derby first. We have seen that in recent years. That isn't the biggest surprise. Typically, the derby is at Goodison Park first, but over the last 5 or 6 years, we have seen Anfield derbies, before Goodison derbies. And then let's have a little look through each and every month. Then we'll run through these fairly quickly because I'm sure you will have all seen them and you don't need me to sit here and go through them for the next 20 minutes. But August is, as I said, our opening game of the season is against Fulham at Goodison Park on the 12th. We then play Aston Villa away on the 19th. That is our first away game of the season. Exactly like it was last season, we played Aston Villa for our first away game. We then play Wolves at Goodison Park on the 26th of August. We then travel to Sheffield United on the 2nd of September. We then play Arsenal at Goodison on the 16th of September. The 23rd of September, we play Brentford away from home, and then we play Luton at Goodison on the 30th of September. We then play Bournemouth at Goodison on the 7th of October before playing Liverpool away on the 21st and West Ham United away on the 28th. Moving into November, we've got Brighton at home. We've then got Palace away on the 11th. Brighton at home is on the 4th, and Manchester United at home after Crystal Palace on the 25th. Into December then, Nottingham Forest away. We've then got Newcastle away 3 days later. Newcastle at home 3 days later. We've then got Chelsea at home 4 days after that. We then play Burnley away, Tottenham away on the 23rd. After Burnley, we then play Manchester City at Goodison Park on Boxing Day, and then on the 30th of December. So no New Year's Eve fixture as there was last season, no New Year's Day fixture by the looks of things as well. On the 30th, we will face Wolves away. Jumping into January, we don't play until the 13th of January when we play Aston Villa at Goodison, and then we play Fulham at Craven Cottage on the 30th. Only 2 fixtures in January so far. As I said, a pretty stacked December period for Everton, playing 7 games, the likes of Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man City, all in there. February is Tottenham at home, Manchester City away, Palace at home, and Brighton away. March is then West Ham at home, United away, Liverpool at home, Bournemouth away, and then I'm sure These were the 2 months that caught the attention of most Evertonians this morning. April starts with Newcastle United away. We then play Burnley at Goodison, Chelsea away. We then play Nottingham Forest at Goodison, and then Brentford at Goodison. We've then got Luton away, Sheffield United at Goodison, and then Arsenal away on the final day of the season. And as I said, I don't want to sound too defeatist, and I don't want to sit here and look too much at those April and May fixtures and think, oh, how many points do I see us getting out of them games in case we need to, etc. Because we could be sitting here, in April already safe and with no issue whatsoever. What I would give to be in that position now, I'd snatch your hand off for it. But looking at those fixtures, okay, some really difficult away games. Our last 4 away games of the season, we have Arsenal, Chelsea and Newcastle as 3 of them. But the home games, Burnley, Forest, Brentford, Sheffield United, if we are in a position where we need to pick up points, then you should hope that we'd be able to at least get a couple of good home wins in there if need be. So there you go. They are the fixtures. Let us know your thoughts on them in the comment section down below. If you are watching live, I want to know your thoughts live as well. Were you, like me, very unsurprised to see Everton being pulled against one of the big teams on the final day of the season? I wasn't. As I said, I was pretty certain that Everton would have been pulled up against one of those top sides away from home on the final day of the season, because I just genuinely don't believe that these fixtures are one bit randomised. I think they are picked, for a reason. I don't think every one of them is necessarily picked, because I can't see the Premier League sitting there and going through every single team and picking every single fixture, but I certainly think there is a situation in which certain teams are put to one side and their final games of the season are chosen for them, or their first games of the season are chosen for them. For example, the first game of the season for Burnley is Manchester City. That'll be Vincent Kompany versus Pep Guardiola. That will be televised. That ain't random. That ain't random whatsoever. So, yeah, again, I understand, as I said, those people that very much have the thought process of, well, we have to play everybody twice anyway, so what's the point in getting worked up about it? I actually don't think it's too bad of a fixture list. I think there's months in there that are a little bit more difficult than others. I think December is quite a difficult month, but it always is a difficult month for Everton. I can't remember the last year in which December wasn't a difficult month. But other than that, I think generally it's not too bad of a fixture list. If you actually have a look at our first few games of the season and you take them into consideration: Fulham at home, Villa away, Wolves at home, Sheffield United away, Arsenal at home. I mean, our first 5 home games of the season are Fulham, Wolves, Arsenal, Luton and Bournemouth. Now, okay, Fulham had a decent season last season, but you'd like to fancy on the opening game of the season, everybody's up for it, a couple of new signings in there. You would like to hope Everton, given it a fresh start, will be able to get something out of that game, even win that game. And then Wolves at home. Yeah, again, another one that you'd like to hope Everton can win. Arsenal at home will be difficult, but then Luton and Bournemouth, 2 games Everton should win. So out of our first 5 home games of the season, realistically, we should definitely win 3 of them, maybe even 4 out of 5. Okay, the away games are a little bit more difficult, but we have got Sheffield United, newly promoted, in there, Brentford in there, who, we very nearly beat last season. So, yeah, again, I think we've got a relatively okay start to the season, and other than December, which is a difficult month, and maybe some difficult away games towards the end of the season, I'm not too displeased with that fixture list. I'll be honest, I'm not too displeased with that. So let us know your thoughts on those fixtures in the comments. Are you happy? Are you not happy? Is there a specific month that you look at and go, oh my god, that will be terrifying? Did you, like me, go straight to April and May and think, right, okay, not even asked who we're playing in August, let me just see who we're playing in May? Because I very much did that because of the pessimist in me. But anyway, let's move on. As I said, I always find the fixtures interesting. I understand that, you've got to play everyone twice and it doesn't really matter. But I always like just to sit down and look at them and sort of plan my weekends and how I'm likely to feel on certain weekends. For example, my birthday weekend, based upon who Everton are playing. Anyway, let's move on to some news today regarding Everton's FFP case, or charge, should I say, according to Paul Joyce, who is a very, very reliable source. He has stated the FFP charge against Everton is supposedly related to a tax issue regarding loans for the new stadium at Bramley-Moore. Everton are confident they will beat the charge put against them. This comes after news yesterday suggesting that various clubs are ready to potentially sue Everton regarding the FFP breach. The Guardian reported yesterday that Everton faced legal action from Burnley, Leeds United, Leicester and Southampton over an alleged breach of the Premier League's FFP rules. According to The Guardian, a hearing over the alleged FFP breaches will take place on the 25th of October this year. So, again, we spoke a number of months ago before the Premier League season ended about certain clubs wanting to take legal action on Everton because of this potential breach of FFP. And, you know, I was quite open and honest about my feelings and thoughts on it. I thought it was embarrassing from the other football clubs, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, whilst I understand, you know, if Everton had gone out and spent £600 million last summer on players that we couldn't afford and ended up breaching the FFP rules and regulations because of doing that, and then stayed up by the skin of our teeth, then I would have got, you know, Leicester and Leeds and Southampton and maybe Burnley last year, you know, trying to take legal action on us because our actions in that season that they were relegated and we stayed up ended up having an effect on their season, and those actions were done illegally. But a lot of the reports we've been seeing about the FFP charge at the moment seem to be historical. You know, even this new information that we've gotten, even before that information, you know, when we were, you know, speaking about the FFP charge and when it's from and what it is and where it's come from, a lot of the reports and rumours were suggesting that it was from the earlier years of Farhad Moshiri's Everton career, Farhad Moshiri's Everton tenure, when we did spend 50-60 million pounds on ridiculous players in you know, a single summer transfer window, 40 odd on Sigurdsson, 30 odd on Michael Keane, 25 odd on Morgan Schneiderlin, you know, 30 odd on Toss and Walcott, etc. They were historical transactions that have now clearly come to well, potentially bite us on the arse, but they were not transactions made during last season or the season before, when those clubs that are potentially, well, are wanting to take action against Everton were relegated. We didn't break FFP the season before last when Burnley were relegated. We spent £1.5 million that summer. £1.5 million. We didn't break FFP this previous season when Leicester and Leeds were relegated and Southampton. We didn't bring a single player in January, the only Premier League club to not do that. You know, all right, we spent a little bit of money in the summer, but we brought money in by selling Richarlison. We sold Anthony Gordon in January and didn't bring anybody in. So that was why I said it was embarrassing, because it's not like Everton have gone out and broken the FFP rule and spent all sorts of money to keep us in the Premier League in January. We haven't. We've not spent anything. We've barely spent anything for the last 3 years, and this charge, we were led to believe, was related to a historical period where, you know, Everton were comfortably in the Premier League, and seemed like Leicester were comfortably in the league, and Southampton, etc., etc. However, this new information makes, you know, a little bit even more of a laughingstock of those other teams trying to take legal action on Everton, because it's not even seemingly an on-the-field issue. It's an issue to do with loans regarding the new stadium. As I've just mentioned, if you've only just joined us, the latest on this is, according to Paul Joyce, the FFP charge against Everton is supposedly related to a tax issue regarding loans for the new stadium at Bramley-Moore Dock, and Everton are confident that they will beat the charge put against them. So it's not even about the footballing side of things. It's not even about Everton breaching FFP because we've signed X player or Y player or Z player, and that's why we've broken the rule, and that's why these teams are unhappy. These teams are unhappy because of an FFP charge which is potentially being breached because of tax issues regarding loans for a new stadium, which has absolutely no sort of mitigating outcome on what Leicester City did this season, or what Leeds United or what Southampton did. Leeds United, Southampton and Leicester City were relegated because they were not very good. Neither were Everton, by the way, but they were just a little bit worse than Everton, and we managed to survive barely. So I do think it's quite embarrassing, and I do think I almost look at it and think, just sort of accept it and move on. But maybe if it was the other way round and Leicester were under an FFP charge and Everton had been relegated, maybe we'd do the same, and maybe I'd be sitting here going, they've cheated and this, that and the other. But, you know, as I said, the latest from Paul Joyce, who is a very reliable source, and again, I don't think Paul Joyce would be putting this out if he didn't have reason to believe it, is that this charge is regarding a tax issue from loans for the new stadium, and not actually anything to do with player transactions or anything like that. So we'll wait and see. I'm sure we'll hear more about this in the coming weeks and months, especially if a hearing is due in October, which is only a matter of months away. But that seems to be the latest at the moment. Everton confirmed an hour ago that they have partnered with Ticketmaster to be the club's new official ticketing innovation partner ahead of the 2023-2024 season. Yes, this doesn't really mean much to anybody, I don't think. However, it's news, and I thought we'd speak about it because it is news. The club said that they can confirm Ticketmaster, a global leader in live entertainment, will become its official ticketing partner ahead of the 2023-24 season. The agreement will cover the club's transition to the new Everton Stadium, which is currently under construction and due for completion in the 24-25 campaign. And then there's just a history on Ticketmaster. The new partnership means that from next season, Evertonians will benefit from Ticketmaster's advanced technology when purchasing tickets on evertonfc.com. This includes 3D virtual venue and innovation that will bring Goodison and later Everton Stadium to life and enhance the user experience when purchasing tickets and selecting seats for the match. Basically, what this means is that when you go onto Ticketmaster or evertonfc.com to purchase a ticket to the game, you will likely be able to choose a seat. And I've actually done this on Ticketmaster before myself, not for games of football, but for concerts. You choose a seat and then you effectively get a 3D view of what that seat looks like. So you effectively get to choose your seat based upon what the view is, and it's quite an accurate view, of what you will be watching when you're there. So it's a good bit of technology, and ultimately it's a nice addition. Whether or not it will affect many people, I don't know, but it's a good bit of technology, and I suppose that this is another partnership that will bring more funds in and will benefit Everton in that way financially as well. So yeah, happy days. I'm always quite excited when I see Everton have agreed new partnerships with new companies, because ultimately it means more money for the football club, and that ultimately means more availability for transfers and for things like that. Even if it is just the ticket and innovation program or a sports drink partnership or whatever it might be. I don't know, Turkish hair salon partnership, whatever it might be. I'm always quite, excited to see them, because it means that ultimately there's more funds coming into the football club. Benny says, question for Cam, is the legal challenge not related to the exorbitant amount of money spent to assemble a very expensive squad of one a couple of years ago? Well, I thought it was. I thought, when I was under the impression that it was actually related to Everton spending in, I think I remember reading between 2016 and 2018, when Everton spent a ridiculous amount of money on what was a ridiculously bad squad. However, as I said, Paul Joyce, who is a very reliable source and very rarely puts information out there if he doesn't believe it to be the truth, is stating that it's actually to do with the stadium and loans for the stadium, and actually nothing to do with the squad. We've only got one charge against us, so it's either for the spends about the team, or it's for the loans for the stadium. It's only one charge. It's not multiple charges. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it's something to do with them both, and they're interlinked. But I think that information we got earlier today was quite interesting. I think it was quite interesting. On to Bill Kenwright then, and his future at the football club. According to Shamoon Hafiz, who is a football reporter for BBC Sport, he has stated less than an hour ago that there is nothing imminent regarding the future of Everton chairman Bill Kenwright. The 77-year-old was minded to leave on Monday, but we now await the outcome of his talks with Farhad Mashiri. There have been a lot of reports over the last 48 hours, 72 hours now, that Bill Kenwright actually offered his resignation to Farhad Moshiri. However, he was persuaded to at least remain for talks with Farhad Moshiri. You know, who knows what the outcome of those talks will be, and who knows what the purpose of those talks will be. Is it Farhad Moshiri saying, no, we really want you to stay, please don't leave? That wouldn't surprise me. Is it Farhad Moshiri saying, you know, okay, if you are going to leave, can you at least stay for the next few weeks while we get some transfers done? Because Bill is obviously somebody that worked on a lot of transfers over the years and has a lot of contacts. Is it Farhad Moshiri saying, well, okay, if you're going to leave, can you at least wait till the new takeover's done so you can act as the sort of, you know, continuity between the old regime and the new regime? I don't know. I think that there's plausible reasons as to why Farhad Moshiri would want Bill Kenwright to have at least remained for the time being for talks. And unfortunately, one of those reasons being that he just wants him to stay at the football club and he doesn't want him to leave is very, 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 very possible because of the relationship that Farhad Moshiri has with Bill Kenwright. And you do get the feeling that Farhad Moshiri just does not think Bill Kenwright can do any wrong, which obviously isn't true, and we all know that is true, and we all know as Evertonians that the best thing for our football club going forward is that Bill leaves, walks out the door, doesn't come back, doesn't have any involvement with Everton, and we can start from afresh. However, we know that the owner doesn't see things that way, and we know that the owner doesn't think in that way, and you know, that is ultimately why he has wanted to continue talks with Bill Kenwright. The BBC reporting that there is no imminent change expected. That doesn't mean to say that there won't be a change. It just means to say that that change isn't likely to be imminent. Ultimately, we will wait and see on that. As I said at the start of the live stream, Everton Football Club themselves set a deadline of 48 hours to provide us with an update on the chairman's position, and they failed to meet that deadline. And I've seen a lot of people yesterday, and I listen, I was one of these people that was sat there on my phone at 5 o'clock yesterday, awaiting an update, awaiting some form of communication from the football club, you know, whether that be just a statement, whether that be an announcement, whatever that may be, you know, whether it be an announcement saying Bill has left the football club, or whether it be an announcement saying we've got no update. I was awaiting something. And do you know why I was awaiting something? Because the club told me to await something. And I've seen a lot of people yesterday saying, oh, why is anybody surprised? Nobody should be surprised. Go out, enjoy the sun. It's 20-odd degrees, this, that, and the other. I think you're missing the point here. Am I surprised that Everton didn't have an update after 48 hours surrounding the future of Bill Kenwright? No. Am I sat here absolutely fuming because Bill Kenwright is ultimately still at the football club for some reason? Well, yeah, I am in one sense, but not in the sense of because he hasn't been sacked within 48 hours. The reason I am incredibly frustrated about this is because the club have once again shown that they are simply inept and incapable of running a business successfully. Who, in their right mind, has suggested, Hutton in a statement, that there will be an update in 48 hours, when in fact they've probably known that there is no update to give? Why give a timestamp? Why say 48 hours? That's why I'm frustrated. Not because we haven't had an update per se. I'm frustrated because the club have once again told us we're going to do this at this time, and they haven't done it. Don't give us a time frame. Just say we will update you in due course. Sound. Nobody will have been expecting anything yesterday. Say we'll provide an update in the next few weeks. Be broad about it. The next few weeks, the next few days, when we can. Now, I know some people will say, well, the club, you know, can't do right for doing wrong, because people would say then be specific, but you can only be specific when you've got that information. And what the club have done is made it worse, because they've said in 48 hours you will get an update on this situation, and then 48 hours has passed and we've not had an update. So they've once again failed. They've failed again. And for people saying, oh, why are you surprised? Go out, enjoy the weather, have a bevy. No, why should I? Because this is once again another example that this football club is run terribly. If I was, and I'm not even a businessman, I work in admin, I'm not a businessman, I don't own a company, I don't own a football club. But if I was looking at that letter, and I was at Everton, and I was one of Everton's, business people or advisors or whatever it may be, I'd look at that letter and I'd go, whoa, have you got an update to give in 48 hours? And if they went, well, no, we've just said that because we might have one, and if we don't have one, we just won't give one. I'd have said, no, take that out. Don't make that so specific unless you know for a fact that within the next 48 hours you're going to have an update to give. Just say in the coming days, in the coming weeks, in the coming hours, or as soon as possible. Don't give a specific, because when you don't meet that specific, it is another example of failure. And this is what Everton have done consistently for years and years and years. Failed. And that yesterday, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care, if anybody wants to say, oh, go out, enjoy the weather, why are you surprised? Not ask what people have got to say. That is another example of failure, because the club have given a time, they've given a date, and I'm not bothered that I sat there at 5 o'clock waiting for an update and there wasn't one that come. I'm bothered about the fact that the club once again have lied to us and have failed us once again. Come out and be transparent. Come out yesterday and say, here's your update. They didn't say that we will have Bill Kenwright will be sacked in the next 48 hours. They said they'll provide an update. So come out and give it. There's obviously something is going on. Whether it be that the decision is that Bill is going to stay on, we won't like it. But if that's the decision, that's the decision. Whether it is that the decision is Bill's going to stay on for the couple of weeks of the transfer window to negotiate deals, whether it be Bill's going to stay on until the new takeover is to be a middleman between that, or whether it is just we haven't decided yet, we're having talks. Come out and give us an update. Why couldn't Everton have released a statement yesterday at 5 o'clock saying Bill Kenwright is continuing to have talks with owner Farhad Moshiri surrounding his future? That's all we needed. That is an update. They said they'd provide us an update. They've provided us an update. It gives us nothing, but they've done what they've said they're going to do. But they can't even do that. This club is a shambles. It is ran like a shambles, and nothing will change until that changes. And that yesterday, and we can't even blame Denise Barrett-Baxendale for that. You can't blame Graham Sharp. You can't blame Grant Ingles. Somebody at this football club still, whether it be Farah, whether it be Bill, whether it be somebody else, has once again failed. It's not good enough. It's simply not good enough. As for Bill Kenwright, we don't know what's going on. We don't know whether he's going to leave. We don't know whether he's going to stay. I've seen a lot of people saying it's a matter of, not if, it's when, and this, that, and the other. I'm at this point now with Everton where I'm like, yeah, would I be massively surprised if Everton come out and said, no, Bill's going to stay because actually, blah, 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 blah. No, I wouldn't. I'd be more surprised if they come out and say, yeah, Bill's going. But let's hope that's the case, because that is exactly what needs to be done. Moving on then. According to Satya Sover-Leary, who is a Belgium journalist, he has said that Chelsea have restarted negotiations to potentially signing Amadou Onana. Everton are willing to sell Onana for a fee of £55 million. This is and should come as no surprise to any of us. We spoke about Amadou numerous times at the end of the season and spoke about his future and whether or not his future will be at Everton. For me, I'd be looking to ask for more 60, 65, maybe 70 from Chelsea on the pure basis that they've got ridiculous amounts of money and they usually blow ridiculous amounts of money up the wall. So I'd be looking to exploit that because Todd Bowley clearly doesn't have much of a clue about what he's doing still. However, 55 million, obviously there's a bit of confusion at the moment on social media regarding buy clauses and sell-on clauses and how much we'd owe Lille of that money, etc., etc. I don't know the ins and outs about that. I don't know the finer details regarding that. I just know that there is a sell-on clause and we will owe Lille some form of money if Amadou is to leave. yeah, if we are to sell him for 55 million, I don't think it's the worst deal in the world for Everton. As I said, I'd like maybe a little bit more because of the fact that we could probably get it from Chelsea. But if that's all they're willing to give, 55 million would be huge for Everton in terms of reinvesting into the squad. I should also note as well, the journalist that reported this is the same journalist that initially reported Amadou Onana coming to Everton, and he's quite reliable when it comes to Belgian footballers and transfers, etc, etc. Yeah, we'll wait and see how this one progresses. I am fairly confident when I say I think that Amadou Onana will leave Everton and join Chelsea this season. I just do. This summer, sorry. I just do. How much that is for, we'll wait and see. Hopefully Everton can be a little bit more sort of shrewd in negotiations and not just accept that initial sort of offer and maybe try and get a little bit more out of Chelsea. But we'll wait and see on that one. James Garner and Jared Branthwaite have been called up for the England squad for the upcoming UEFA European Under-21 Championships. Best of luck to both of those, of course. Everton will face Stade Lyonnais in Nyon, Switzerland on the 14th of July. 5 p.m. kickoff British time as part of the club's pre-season training. That was confirmed a couple of days ago and obviously is big news. On that as well, there was a lot of rumours about Everton playing in Switzerland, so good to get that one out. Everton Fans Forum confirmed that from a meeting with the football club, progress on the build at Bramley-Moore remains good, but Everton stressed that the completion is during 2024 and not in time for the 2024-2025 season. Discussions on a mid-season move versus end-of-season move will be made if necessary once a completion date is known. So effectively what that means is that there is no guarantee that the new stadium will be open on the 12th of August 2024 when the new season will begin. It will open at some point during 2024, and that may be in October, that may be in December. And if that is the case, then the club will then discuss whether or not to move in the mid-season or to wait until the start of the 2025-26 season and move in then in the August. Again, nothing massively surprising, and I don't think this is any sort of concern. We were told that the stadium would be finished in 2024. That seems to be still on track. It just means that it mightn't be finished by August 2024. But as I said, I'm sure the closer we get to that date and the closer we get to this time next year, I'm sure we'll know a lot more about whether or not Everton are going to move mid-season or not. And then final bit of news I want to talk about today is, according to Paul Joyce, Sean Dyche believes that Dele Alli still wishes to push himself. Dyche has already held talks with Dele, who is set to return to Finch Farm for pre-season. If Dele plays 7 more games, Everton will have to pay Tottenham £10 million. Yeah, seen a lot of people quite excited about this. Oh, Dele, and if we can get this out of him, if we can get that out of him, he'd be a great player. Personally, I think for me, he's had his chance. He had his chance under Lampard, didn't pull up any tees. Had his chance at Besiktas, clearly wasn't interested. What's to say that he's going to come back and be interested now? And if he was our player and he was not going to cost us anything, then yeah, why not? What have we got to lose? But the reality is, what we've got to lose is £10 million that we haven't really got there to be able to lose. So for me, I wouldn't be doing that. I'd be trying to move him on in the summer. But there you go. That is going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button. It would mean a massive amount to me. I am going to do another video over the next coming days about 5 things that Everton must do ahead of the new season, so look out for that one. But until then, if you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. That would mean a massive amount to me. Big thank you all for watching, and we'll see you later.